Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're just going to be meal prepping. Let's meal prep a week's worth of lunches. We're going to make some protein Alfredo. Let's do it. Okay, so now we're going to go through and we're going to meal prep for the week. Right now we're going to be doing chicken Alfredo, and I called it protein Alfredo in my Fitness Pal, but basically it's going to be, and I'll list the ingredients so you can see them. I did not invent this recipe. I got it from Pernilla Stryker. If you've never checked out her YouTube page, you need to. She has a lot of good macro friendly recipes that actually taste good. So I'm going to use her Alfredo sauce, and I'm going to be using, and I'm going to butcher this, Bonza noodles for extra protein, and then lots of chicken. I think I landed on 800 grams of chicken. Here we go. Okay, so I have all the ingredients. We're going to be using Fairlife 2% milk and Italian seasoning, onion powder, garlic powder, pepper. I got the mozzarella cheese, but I did fat-free like she suggested in her recipe. You could use any mozzarella that you want to. If you're not ready to go full fat-free, that's completely understandable. As long as you are measuring it all out when you're putting it into MyFitnessPal, add it as a recipe, and then tell it how many servings you're going to have. Go to the end and be like, am I happy with this? Is this too many calories? Is this the perfect amount of calories? And then you can edit it how you want to. Maybe put in less of regular mozzarella cheese or less of something else. I think it tastes good. I'm going to be really honest with you. Nothing tastes as good as the original, but it's close enough for me. And I remember that this isn't forever. This is just to get to maintenance calories. And then I can add in things that I love, like regular mozzarella cheese. So that's where we're at with this. I will take you along with me as I mix things together. So let's do it. Okay, I'm going to start by adding 2 cups of the Fairlife 2% milk. I've been meaning to make these videos forever now, and I just don't ever feel like I have the time to do it. But I told myself this is the week we're doing it. I desperately just want to do this with someone, and so doing it on YouTube is a great way to make sure that I'm being held accountable, because I can pretend like somebody out there is doing this with me, and we're making these recipes and we're like, this tastes like dog crap. No, I'm just kidding. It actually doesn't taste like dog crap, but it's never the same. It's never the same as the original. I'm sticking to that. That's how I feel. Technical difficulties. Okay. Okay. Okay, I have my own food measuring scale. I can't talk today. I have my own food measuring scale. I'm going to put the blender on this. I'm using a blender because we're going to blend together all the ingredients at the end. It's the best thing ever. I love it. And I'm putting it on the blender because I need 2 28-gram servings of cheese. I'm doubling the recipe because I am going to be using this for my lunches this week. So 28 and 28 is 56. The sad part is I'm a math teacher. Don't judge me. I have to get exact. Every time I'm sitting here, I'm like, point one little kernel. It went over. That's it. Pull cheese out. It's fine. One little tenth of a gram is not going to make that big of a difference. Fast forward to the end of the week when I haven't lost any weight. Just kidding. No, that's not true. Not accurate. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Okay. In the recipe, it was 100 grams of, it said fat-free cream cheese. At my local Walmart, it apparently doesn't believe in fat-free cream cheese, so I just got the 1/3 less fat. I don't know if you can see that. 1/3 less fat, which it's something. So I logged it. I'm happy with it. I don't want to cut out fat entirely because I'm trying to include all of the macros. So there will be times where I'll take a recipe and I will adapt it. In her recipe, she uses almond milk. I used Fairlife because I need that extra fat. I need all the macros. I can't cut anything out. So gotta make sure I'm keeping my body exactly where it needs to be. I had an avocado for breakfast. So not an avocado, I had half an avocado. So half an avocado, piece of sourdough toast. What was it? I think it was half a cup of egg whites and 2 eggs. So, okay, 200 grams of this. And you can do fat-free cheese if such a monster exists in your Walmart. It does not in mine. But again, the goal here is to make simple substitutions as you go that you can stand, that you could live by. Don't start switching to fat-free if you've never had fat-free in your life. I would say just maybe start with portions, maybe take a little bit less. And then when you're good with that, then try making tiny substitutions. I think there's low fat cheese. And so just little substitutions. You may find that you're great with the substitutions, and there are other substitutions that you're like, I would rather not. Okay, we're at 191 grams right now. 203. Close enough. Close enough for government work. It was almost a whole package. I hate it when that happens. What am I going to do with one little dollop of cream cheese? Save that for later. Okay. She did not have measurements for the seasonings, and I added in garlic powder because I'm glad I'm the opposite of a vampire, whatever that is. I love garlic. So we're just going to, looks good it, you know? I believe most people call that eyeballing it. I call it looks gooding it. So enough of the herbs to make it look Italian. When in doubt, fingers out. Okay, onion powder. Perfect. Looks great to me. And then let's do some paprika, salt, and pepper, and we're going to blend this up and we're going to give it a taste. And if it tastes terrible, I'll let you know. Oh my gosh, apparently we're living spicy today. I'm about to have heartburn all week. This is great. Salty. Just living our life salty. Okay, pepper. Everything to taste. All right, let's blend it. My husband and child are trying to sleep right now, so of course I have to use the loudest food maker in the world. So there's that. Here we go. How do you know chunks of cream cheese have been blended? You know what I mean? How do you test that out? I'm already regretting the amount of paprika in this. I just sneezed like 3 times. I'm gonna blame the pepper, but it's gonna be spicy. I just know it. I gave myself heartburn. I have to measure paprika next. Okay, I've set that to the side. I'm gonna start making my chicken. I'm just gonna measure out 800 grams of chicken using my scale. I'm gonna put it in the pan and on the scale. That way I don't dirty up a bunch of dishes because remember, I'm lazy. We talked about this. So 800 grams of chicken. I'm gonna use the same seasonings, a little bit of paprika, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and some Italian herbs. And then I'm just gonna cook it until it's cooked all the way through. I'm gonna add the creamy sauce to the chicken, let it finish cooking, and then I'm gonna start chopping up my broccoli, boiling the broccoli, putting my noodles in, making sure I have enough. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. I'll show you my itty bitty baby containers I got from Amazon. I'm terrible at just looking at the picture and not looking at like the measurements, how big it's gonna be. But we're just gonna cram it all in there. It's gonna be fine. Okay, so I'm using chicken that my husband gets from work for a discount. Times are tough, so it's really not easy to have a protein goal in this economy. So we make do what we can. It's not the best chicken. Of course, I would recommend chicken breast if you have $1 million laying around to spend on chicken breast, but I don't. So I'm going to use 800 grams of these tenderloins. It's the same concept. So, I mean, it's pretty comparable. It's the same thing. So 800 grams. Because they have tendons in them, I'm sure that the grams of protein will be identical to getting chicken breast. But it's close enough. Something that I have learned over the many years of trying to make healthy choices and change my my way of life is that it's never going to be perfect. And even if you're off by a gram, there are some influencers out there who say if you're off by a gram or if every taste counts. And I think that's true when you hit a certain level of fitness. But I'm going to be really honest with you, that's never going to be my level of fitness. I am going to eat pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. I'm not going to bring a macro-friendly pumpkin pie to Thanksgiving. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to eat Alfredo sauce in moderation and enjoy it. And there's nothing unhealthy about including fats into your diet. And there's nothing unhealthy about including carbs in your diet. It's just about what the kind of carbs are. How often do you have the stuff that's not so good for you? You need food that's good for your soul and you need food that's good for your body. You have to have a balance. It's all about balance. This is going to be the part of the video where I talk to you as though people have already asked me questions when I've only been on YouTube for 5 seconds. So yeah, here you go. Buckle up. Here you go, Buttercup. So people always ask me, how do I eat the same thing every single day? And the answer is simple. I don't like eating the same thing every single day. I am one of those people where if I have leftovers, it will rot in the fridge before I will finish it. I am doing this because it's going to be easier to keep track of if I do this. and work full time. I'm a teacher, I'm a mom. I come home, my husband works nights. It's just me and my daughter. I don't have time to make a macro friendly, high protein meal for every single meal that I have. So while she naps on Sunday, that was too much paprika again. That's fine. So while she naps, I use this time as an opportunity to make food. Isn't that beautiful? Gorgeous. All right, we're gonna put that here. Alfredo sauce just waiting in the wings. Chicken. Now it's time to chop up some broccoli. Let's do it. I put the chicken away. Can't leave that on the countertop. Gross. Oh, there's my legs. Beautiful. Honestly, my goals right now are simple. I want to be able to walk my baby girl to the park next summer. I want to be able to ride bikes with her. I went from being stuck on running the fastest and the longest and lifting as much weights as I could. And don't get me wrong, I am going to get back to strength training and I'm going to be back to running. I'm going to do it because I love it, but it's not going to be the center of my universe. Right now, I just want to be able to be her mom. I want to be able to play tag with her or hide and seek for long periods of times without her shoving me from behind and me having to look at her and be like, honey, we can't play that way. She's 4, you know, it just sucks. All right, I'm going to chop up some broccoli. And I don't measure my broccoli. I don't measure my vegetables. So this is a portion from Chelsea Mays. If you've never heard of her, you need to check her out. She was from, I'm going to butcher this. Please forgive me. I believe New Zealand, Australia. Anyways, she moved to Austin, Texas just recently, and she changed her life. She was a mom. She was overweight in her eyes. Like she felt like she wanted to lose that weight. And she did. I mean, I just love listening to her advice, her videos. It's awesome. So she said to fill every single meal that you have with as many vegetables as humanly possible, because that volume is what's going to help you stay full. And the word that they use right now is called satiety. It means staying full. So I'm not going to measure my broccoli. I'm just going to cut up a bunch of it. I bought a whole crap ton of it. I want to save 5 or 6 heads of broccoli. And I'm going to fit as many little florets as I can into my little baby food containers. Also, if you know what to do with this and not waste it, I'm open to anything. So please tell me in the comments below. What do you do with your green tree from your broccoli? Getting out a pot so I can put my broccoli in there. But not just any pot, my Dutch oven. I was obsessed with making sourdough. So I got a Dutch oven, perfected it. I had my starter going and everything. And then I realized very quickly that we were not going to eat as much sourdough as it would take to justify making once a week or once every 3 days a loaf to keep your starter going. And so it rotted and died. And yeah, but at least I know how to make sourdough. So if there's an apocalypse, I'm your sourdough hookup. 5-second rule. If you saw me pick that up off the floor, yep, you're darn right. We don't waste around here, except if it's leftovers that can rot. My goal for this week is just to lose a pound. When I get back on the scale, I just want to lose 1 pound. 1 pound. And if it's half a pound, that's also normal. So half a pound to a pound a week is a normal amount of weight loss. And I know that's true, but in my head, I want to be the weight I want to be right now. And if I do it that way, it is possible. If you do a low carb diet or if you do the Weight Watcher diet, that's like a low fat diet, you can lose a lot of weight very quickly. And it's tempting. The problem is that once you get to your ideal weight, you haven't been practicing what you're going to do forever, unless you plan to live a low carb life forever. Some people have, and that's great. I am not that person. I need my carbs, just like I need my fats. And so it's better, and the longevity, if you look up the research that they have so far for losing weight and keeping it off, it only works longevity wise if you are making small changes over a long period of time, and if you're making changes that you know you can stick to. I mean, little substitutions. That one I learned from Natasha Ocean, another YouTuber. She does not make videos anymore, sad face, but I'm sure videos are still up, so I watch them every now and again. I think this is plenty of broccoli. Right? Plenty. Put some water in there. Natasha taught me a lot about sustainability, longevity, satiety, learning to love your body and giving it what it needs. So check out her page. Even though she's not making new videos, she's got a lot of good ones. On to the stove. Okay, I'm gonna flip this chicken. It always takes it forever to cook all the way through because some of them are just double layered on top of one another. So the most important thing about cooking chicken is making sure that it is cooked. I know that sounds a little redundant, but that's the honest truth. Do not undercook your chicken. All right, once it's done cooking all the way through, I'm not going to measure out grams. I'm going to weigh the entire thing from scratch. I'll pick some sort of container. I'll weigh out how much the total amount of chicken is, and then I'll divide it by 6 and put each into the container. But it has to cool first, because if it does not cool, then I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but then it will fluctuate on the scale. It'll keep going down and down as it cools and cools. And so I'm just going to wait for it to cool, and then I'll portion it out and put each into a container. I'm going to get the noodles ready and put that on the stove. I need 2 ounces of dry noodles per serving, and there are 6 servings, so that's 12 ounces of dry noodles. Okay, so this is how I live my life. I had fully intended on getting the same box of noodles, and somehow I ended up with 2 very different kinds. And the nutritional facts are the same on both of them. So again, not a big deal. It's fine. It's going to be fine. So I'm going to see how many ounces I can get out of one box, and I'm probably going to go with these because they look more like fettuccine noodles to me. So okay, what did I say? 2 times 6, 12. Those liars, it's 7.8 ounces. I'm just going to stare at the measurements. I got to get close. Don't judge me. If you're not fancy like me and you don't have a meat thermometer, what are you really doing with your life? I have to have a meat thermometer, otherwise I undercook my chicken, and that's not good. So meat thermometer it is. Close, but not ready yet. It's probably going to be dry, but it is cooked all the way through, and I'm really worried about that. So now we're going to pour in the Alfredo sauce. You can't see a thing. All right, I promised you guys a taste test. Oh yeah, not too much paprika. That was really good. Yeah, even with the less fat and the fat-free cheese, can't even taste it. It's good. Super good. All right, we're gonna let that chicken cool down, and then we're gonna portion it out into containers for the week. Okay, so full disclosure, my makeup is never gonna be done, and my hair is always gonna look like the bad guy from the Three Ninjas from that 90s movie. If you don't get the reference, then we probably shouldn't be friends. Just kidding. If you don't get the reference, you should probably go watch the movie. It's pretty good. So I'm gonna sit down now while my broccoli is finishing cooking. I'm gonna talk about real fast my meal options for the week. So I just saw a really neat video talking about how to meal prep without spending 1,000 hours doing it, because I only have a limited amount of time before my little girl wakes up from her nap. So I have 2 main meat sources, 2 main proteins that I'm using this week. Chicken is my lunch that I've chosen, and I do want to include healthy fats or red meat because your body needs both. So I'm going to do ground beef for each of my meals. I have leftover meatloaf from Saturday, so I'll be incorporating that tonight for her, tomorrow night for me. I have a protein pizza. So the protein pizza I'll use tonight, and it's called a protein pizza. You have to be careful with some of those labels. I read the back of it. It has 28 grams of protein per serving. So that counts as a really good serving of protein for me. And it's not very many calories. So win-win for me. So I'm going to do that tonight. The leftover meatloaf I will do Monday night. And then Tuesday night I will be in Eureka. So that's a far drive from where I live. I'm going to have to go straight from work. I've got to be mindful. I'm going to think ahead. What is my goal? My goal is protein, healthy fats, healthy carbs. I'm not going to pick up food from McDonald's. So I need to have a container of food for Tuesday night. So in thinking about it, I will do the meatloaf Tuesday night. I will portion out all my food, put it into a container that me and my daughter can eat when we're at what we call Sister Day. It's when all my sisters and my mom get together and we just spend time. I don't get to do it all the time, but every 2 weeks. So that's my plan. So the other nights I have extra ground beef that I've got to cook. One of my go-to dinners is called bone broth soup. It's really generic. That's what I call it. I just get a container of bone broth. I get one of the frozen packages of mixed vegetables from Walmart, and then I get a pound of ground beef. I chop up the ground beef and cook it all the way through, and then I add the frozen vegetables and probably 4 cups of the bone broth. I just think about it as a cup per serving. And so 1 pound divided by 4 sounds like a pretty good portion of protein, just spitballing it right now. But that's one meal option. It's fast, it's cheap, it's easy. You're hitting all the macros. You do have to include carbs. So if you want to put that on a bed of mashed potatoes, you could. Be careful what you put in your mashed potatoes. You could do the fat-free butter. I can't believe it's not butter, whatever that's called. I don't like margarine, and it's one molecule away from being plastic in my head, so I won't do that. But if that works for you and you like the taste of it, please do that. But that's an option. I don't like mashed potatoes with soup. That combination has never worked for me. There are people who eat mashed potato and noodles, and I love that for them, but I can't do it. So I probably will get a piece of sourdough toast or something to that effect and have the sourdough bread with it as a form of carbs, probably an apple for dessert, just so I'm getting those carbs in there. I'll get plenty of fat from the ground beef. And then I've got my mixed vegetables for all of my fiber that I need for the day. There's also fiber in apples. So that's my plan. I always just choose meals that'll be quick, fast, easy, that I know are my go-tos, that I like the way they taste, and my daughter likes the way they taste, and it's quick and it's simple. I do also have bonza noodles that are spaghetti noodles, and I'm trying to get rid of ground beef. So I've got tomato paste in my cabinet. I'll probably end up making spaghetti. But again, we're on a budget here. We're still trying to meet the protein goals, but I go off of what I already have. And then I meal prep for the week. Ideally, I like to do this by Thursday for the following week so I can make a Walmart order and have everything I need. But this last week was Halloween and I was busy. And so we're just doing the best we can. And that's good enough. This is normal life. You're going to get normal person social media here. So that's the plan. 130 grams of protein is the goal every single day. And so if I hit the end of the night and I don't have it, Greek yogurt's my best friend. I put some stevia in there and some fruit, and it's about 17 grams of protein per cup. They didn't have the whole jug. I normally like to get the jug because it saves money, but they gave me 10 cups last time when I asked for a jug because they were out, and I'll take it. So that's the plan. So let's stick to it. So the goal is 130 grams of protein, strength training 3 times a week, and then resting my hip and healing and losing a pound. Let's see if it works. I'm going to prove to you that we can make minimal changes and still see that our bodies are going to go in the direction that we want them to. Adding in protein is going to change the way you eat. So just if you want to start simple, just add protein into your meals and then weigh yourself up before you do. And then the very next week at the same time of day, before you've eaten, after you've gone to the bathroom, make it all the same. Weigh yourself again and see if it's made a change. If you stayed the same weight, then make another change. You could take away something or substitute something. Instead of doing full sugar coffee creamer, substitute sugar free and then go a week with that and see if that makes a difference. The smallest changes will have the biggest impact on your body. And I know you're thinking, no, I got to do it all right now, right this second. I thought that too. But I'm telling you what, I lost weight and felt the best when I did it this way, when I did it slowly. So the first 2 things I'm doing are making sure I'm hitting my protein goals every day to help with my healing, but also to help with my satiety, to make me feel full for longer, and maximizing the amounts of vegetables I put in. Everything else is secondary. I had candy on Halloween, and I still lost 4 pounds last week. Now, remember, it wasn't all 4 pounds. Some of that was from finishing my period, and I hadn't been on a healthy diet in a long time, so my glucose stores were getting rid of everything. It's a combination of a lot of things. So I saw a 4 pound loss, but this week will be the true telltale sign. So that's why I'm starting this week with you. I'm hoping to lose a pound, but we'll see. If I don't, I don't. And then I just make a new change next week because this is a journey that I want to keep for the rest of my life. Okay, I measured out the noodles in an empty container that was zeroed out on the scale. So I got 29.9 and I divided it by 6, and I'm going to zero out the scale for each of my containers for my weekly lunches, and I'm going to put in 4.9 because that was the amount of ounces per container to make them even. So that's a lot of work, I know, but it's the easiest way I could think to do it. I definitely overcooked the noodles, which is gross, but it's fine. Okay, so I've zeroed out the scale for this orange bowl. I'm going to pour in all of my sauce and my meat, and then I'm going to take that amount, divide it by 6, and I'm going to try my absolute best to get equal amounts of chicken in each container. The chicken is what I'm most worried about. The sauce can be a little bit off, but the chicken's got to be pretty equal because that is the main source of protein. Now I know what you're thinking. Where is she going to fit the broccoli? That's what I'm thinking too. So stick around. I'm going to figure it out. Let's play Smash the Broccolis in. Oh, yeah, that's no. It's fine. Something I learned from last week is that I do not put the lid on my container when it's still hot because the lid was divoting. So, fun stories, fun facts. I've also heard that if you I've also heard that if you boil your veggies, that it takes out some of their nutrition. I don't know if that is true or not, but we boil around here, so it's fast, it's easy. I don't like crunchy broccoli, so if you want to put yours in the oven to get them oven roasted instead, you absolutely can, and I support you in your journey. I'm not doing it. So right now, we're just seeing how many broccoli we can smash in each container. So all right, that's it for my meal prep for the week. You can use my recipe if that makes life simpler for you, or you can choose your own. Just make sure to evenly portion out 7 portions so that way you have plenty for the week. You hit all your macro and protein goals and you don't have to think about it. Thanks for joining me for this meal prep, and I'll see you throughout the week. Bye.